Hello and welcome to the Barrel Roll Newscast for Leap Day, February 29th, 2020. Today we're talking about Spielberg, Bob Iger, and the Republic's getting high. Join us after this.
Hello.
Hello! I wasn't paying attention. That was my fault.
Neither was I. I'm playing around with the picture right now.
Welcome to the Barrel Roll Newscast, where we talk about movie and video game news from the last week.
Yeah.
I'm Nick.
I'm Chris. I'm back. Yay.
And I'm still awake.
That's a good thing.
Yep. That's pretty much my accomplishment for the week.
We're done the post credit.
Welcome everybody. Let's get to the news.
Yeah.
So
what news there is?
What little news there is, because pretty much everything's being canceled right now due to, the beer virus.
Yes.
This one's funny because right now Harrison Ford is doing all of the press junket stuff for that Call of the Wild movie with the very, very CGI dog.
That has bombed?
Yeah, well, I wonder why.
Because not a real dog.
Yeah.
Apparently
So
it's a person in a green suit.
It is. Apparently he was acting next to a guy in a green suit.
It's really weird.
Yeah. So I laughed because I was like, for whatever reason, I thought it was a Disney something.
Yeah.
And it sort of is now because Fox was making it.
Okay, well.
So it was a Fox production, and that Disney took over and tried to like they have to get it out there sort of thing.
Yeah.
But obviously it was too late, and now there's this CGI dog in the movie that looks very CGI. The rest of it,
fights a bear.
Yeah. But I was watching him talk, and he's like, we filmed that 20 minutes outside of, LA.
Yeah.
And he's like, and it had to be Alaska. So he's like, all this scenery is all pretty much digital. Like the whole movie's pretty much a CGI fest other than Harrison Ford.
Yeah, that's not good.
But when I look at all of the scenery stuff, I'm like, okay, at least that looks like Alaska. Like I thought they had actually gone somewhere, or at least no, not like. No. So at least that part of the CGI turned out well.
It's never good when it's like a full CGI.
No, there's got to be.
Other than Harrison Ford.
Other than Harrison Ford.
He might be CGI. I don't know.
Who he might be. But even when he's promoting this movie, and he's a very funny interviewer, because I think he doesn't like speaking in front of people.
No.
Like you can tell that. So he's on talk shows, and they're like, "So the dog's not real," and he's like, "What?" Like every time he's like, "What do you mean the dog's not real?"
I was there.
And he's like, "There's a dog in this movie. I've seen the movie. There's a dog." Either way, with him being on the press junkets, people have been asking him, Indiana Jones 5, when are things going to get cooking? Yeah. April looks like our date for starting to shoot.
Oh, soonish.
But Spielberg has stepped out as director.
Not a terrible thing, though.
And no, Spielberg's track record
lately
has been very,
Well, it's hit or miss.
It's hit or miss. So, and that's the thing.
It's always been with his thing.
Yes, and I think with this, after the last Indiana Jones movie, this isn't a bad choice for him.
Well, he'll still be involved.
Yeah, he's producing. He'll make sure that the vision is still there. But they're looking at the guy, I guess the rumor is, who directed Logan.
All right. So we're going to have a grittier
But even
Indiana
it doesn't,
Jones.
not necessarily gritty, but even if that guy just takes the tone of Indiana Jones and, puts it back into the movie. Because I think that's what was really missing out of 4. It didn't... Parts of it felt like indie.
Yeah.
And parts of it were like, something's missing. And again,
More
it could have been...
Swears. We need a rated R Indiana Jones movie.
No, we don't. No.
Well, if you're getting a guy with Logan, yeah.
But that's what I mean. I think Logan, like the director, made the movie that was supposed to be made.
Yeah.
And that's kind of what I'm hoping here, is he'll make Indiana Jones, an Indiana Jones movie. Not Indiana Jones and younger Shia LaBeouf, who's doing most of the things. But then a lot of it was CGI too, which threw me.
Yeah. Well, I don't know if the rumor's still going around with Sean Connery
coming back
for this.
I believe he said for the last movie he would have come back for like a walk-on. Like he appreciates that series enough that he would. He just couldn't do a full movie because he's 108,000 years old now.
Well, he's retired. He doesn't want to do it.
He doesn't want to do a full movie.
No.
And then Steven didn't want to be like, yeah, here's Sean Connery. You know.
Yeah.
For 5 seconds just to like have him leave.
Yeah.
I'd be cool with Sean Connery for 5 seconds.
Yeah.
You know.
It's been a while. We haven't seen him.
Or have like the two of them have a meeting somewhere where he has to get info from his dad on something, or one little scene.
Where he's sitting down.
Yeah, exactly. One scene would be cool.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. But yeah, I'm kind of hoping this movie's a bit more indie. I think the CGI stuff took me out. Like people complain about like the vine swinging.
Yeah.
I mostly complain about that because it's.
Well, Shia LaBeouf.
He didn't do a bad job.
No.
It legitimately like there's parts of that movie where you're just like, what am I? Like again, he's swinging from vines, and you're going.
That doesn't make.
Indy goes out there, but not that far out there.
Yeah.
You know, again, we can deal with the religious stuff. We can deal with like I thought the fridge getting.
I was gonna say that there's a big.
I was cool with the fridge thing. Like that felt indie to me.
Yeah.
Because it's like within that realm of like. Maybe, like Indy could pull this. Any human can not do that. Indiana Jones though, because he's Indiana Jones.
Yeah.
And he has a horseshoe up his butt. Like he's like the guy that can climb into a lead-lined fridge and survive a nuclear explosion. He's found the Grail. He's found, the Ark of the Covenant. Like, that's an indie thing. Guy swinging from vines following monkeys, that gets a little, like, all of a sudden you're into, like, this is just silly and not in, like, an adventurous type way. Because, again, mine carts, silly. But it doesn't feel silly.
No, because it could actually happen.
And, again, it's this, like, they put the action inside of it, not just like, oh, yeah, I'm like Tarzan now. And you're like, no.
Wasn't even,
No, because it was Shia LaBeouf doing it, because, parts of that movie felt very Indiana Jones, and then parts of it were just awkward. So hopefully
it's okay for the next one.
Yeah, hopefully a new director can breathe some.
We'll see.
And I'm not worried about Harrison Ford.
Said what the title is?
No.
Because all the other ones have been kind of based around books.
Sort of, yeah.
So it'd be interesting to see what old man Indy.
Yeah. You know what would be really interesting to me is if, like, the ride in Disneyland is based off of nothing.
Yeah.
It's just the Temple of the Forbidden Eye.
Yeah.
It'd be kind of cool if they went in that direction.
Maybe. I don't know. I don't know if they're going to try to do the young thing again.
What do you mean?
Have another young person to pass it off to.
Oh, God, no. No. I'm cool. Again, that's my...
Good.
Indy's one of those...
It'd be like the Star Wars stuff. You're passing it off to the next generation. And that's what he did in Force Awakens.
And he
passed it off to the younger generation.
And I get that. As long as they don't... I don't know. I think it was Shia LaBeouf's character that bugged me more than anything.
And I'm not saying him.
No.
Recast that.
Yeah, I recast that too. The way Shia LaBeouf's been acting, yeah.
He does more indie stuff now.
I know.
Not that not that indie, but...
And I think Star Wars, it's easier to do that because it's this resistance of people, whereas Indiana Jones was like indie.
Indy's been getting around. He's just having kids all over the place.
So they'll bring back Willie Scott. And
bring back Short
round.
You could be the next indie.
I'd be okay with that.
I don't know what that guy's doing. Bring him back.
Shorty.
He's been on adventures with Indy. He knows
adventures all over the place.
He knows what's going on.
And I'd also, and this one does sound weird. I would be cool with, like, they had the Young Indiana Jones series ages ago.
Yeah.
I'd be cool with that.
Or, but I don't see that doing well with movies.
I say
that'd be a Disney Plus.
And that would be, if you're going to carry Indy on, that's, I think, the way you go with it.
Before the adventures and
everything. Yeah, go with young Indiana Jones.
Set the first season before Raiders.
I'd go further back than no. Temple of Doom was actually the first chronologically.
Was it?
Yeah.
All right.
Yes, technically, Temple of Doom is a prequel.
All right. So you do one before Temple of Doom,
Yeah.
and you set one in between Temple of Doom and Raiders of the Ark.
Yeah, but then you have to cast Indiana Jones. Like, that's the thing. If you go to young Indiana Jones where he's a teenager, you're not casting against Harrison
Young
Ford.
adults.
You're casting, yeah. Like, that's the piece is, again, the guy in Solo did an okay job, but...
Because it's 4 years, or you have him in school, in university.
And maybe that.
Going for his teaching.
Yeah.
Or,
archaeological degree.
Whichever
He's a doctor. Technically, he should have spent a lot of time in school. He is Dr. Indiana Jones.
Well, you could do it part-time. He could be teaching with going on adventures while getting his doctorate.
Well, and then that would also connect to because Ravenwood, like Marion's dad, was his mentor.
You could do that.
So the Ravenwood thing could all like there's things you can do. I just think like recasting Indy to set something during one of the other movies, like Chris Pratt is Chris Pratt and he's cool. I just don't think he's
not Indy.
He's not Indy. Like it's hard to replace Indiana Jones.
You get the guy who did him in Han.
No.
Or in Solo.
No. I refuse. Because again, that movie was okay as a whole. He was like the part where I'm like, if I forget he's pretending to be Han Solo, because that's what it feels like.
He can play all the young Harrison Ford characters.
No, I'm good. I'd rather put dots on Harrison Ford and have him de-aged.
You know he won't do that.
I know he won't. Well, he acted with a green man as a dog. Who knows what he's up for now?
I don't know. I saw the clip of that and I was like, that's weird.
His best...
I'd be weirded out as Harrison Ford.
Yeah, I know. His best, especially as Harrison Ford, right?
This is what my life has come to.
Exactly, like I'm giving a treat to hello, man. Because his best interview that I saw with Vanity Fair does those like through the ages things. They talk about all of his movies, and because he doesn't have to speak in front of anybody but like a small camera crew, he was actually very much more open to like, talk about his career.
Yeah.
He's like, I picked movies based on like what story it's gonna tell, and the character, and he's like I did this one movie because it just sounded like fun. And he's like, it did bad. And he's like, but it was fun to make.
Yeah.
And he's like, and once I had done, Star Wars and Indiana Jones and, a couple other movies where it's
Blade
like...
Runner.
Yeah, like he's like, once I had solidified myself, it's like, now I can take on projects that just sound weird.
Call of the Wild.
And obviously, like... And honestly, if I had been approached as someone... Call of the Wild's a crazy good book.
Yeah.
And it's a classic. Like, honestly, someone approaches you with a script going, hey, Call of the Wild, you're like, this is like... Sweet.
Yeah.
Read the script, you're like, this sounds awesome.
CGI.
And then you show up on set and there's a guy in like a skinny green suit like, hello, I'll be playing Buck the dog. And Harrison's like, oh no, I'm in too deep now. I've already signed contracts. Where's Chewie?
Yeah.
Like even the Wookiee he acted with was
know.
at least an actual guy in a costume.
In a big furry suit.
But at least it was a dude in a suit, not just like, guy in a green thing like.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, Spielberg out. We'll see how that goes with everything else. But
here's hoping. That's
still
still a ways away.
Yeah, the fact that Harrison Ford's excited about it though, and again the fact that we've seen him in enough movies now where we know he can act again. Because like Indiana Jones 4, we hadn't really seen him.
Yeah.
And then the editing was so bad, you're like, oh no, Harrison Ford in his old age is gone senile and can't act. And then even when they got him back for The Force Awakens, I was like, oh no. But he came back. Like, that was Han Solo. And you're like, okay.
Yeah.
So again, maybe we don't need Steven Spielberg and those guys directing if that's what we're going to get out of Harrison. Like, it'll be nice to have.
Yeah.
It'll be nice to have Harrison Ford back as Harrison Ford.
He might have just lost it.
I don't think so.
He may have.
I don't think so.
It happens to the best of us.
Not my indie. Moving on. Bob Iger CEO guy who has been running Disney for a long time now,
Buying things.
buying things left, right, and center, has stepped down immediately.
I'm sure this has been planned.
It has. So, before the Fox merger, he was going to retire.
Yeah.
And then he signed on for like another 2 years. It's like we knew when his contract was up.
Yeah.
Because he wanted to get the Fox merger done because he wanted that under his name.
Yeah.
So when people talk about Disney in, documentaries or anything like that, or when they introduce Bob Iger as, like all of his accomplishments,
Yeah.
Disney buying Fox is one of the things under his name.
Yeah.
So we knew his tenure was coming to an end. The thing was, it was quite funny that like there was no, I'm going to retire in a month. It was, I've retired.
I'm done.
And Bob Chapek is now in charge. Like,
I'm out.
so he's stepped down into an advisory role essentially. So he's still going to get paid. He's going to make sure that like nothing instantly changes because the company has been doing so well. You don't want a new guy taking over and going like, okay, I've got big ideas. We're, restructuring this and changing that and doing this.
Yeah.
Bob Iger's still going to be like, whoa, like, we're still worth money. Let's not screw it up.
Yeah.
Because the guy before Bob Iger, that's what he started to do was, cut corners and do this and do that. And all of a sudden the brand, it still made money. Obviously it's Disney. Like, it's almost hard not to.
Yeah.
But it wasn't making a lot of money. And then Bob Iger stepped in and his first job was buying Pixar.
That Lucasfilm.
Well, it was Pixar, Marvel, Lucas, and Fox.
Lucas was before Marvel.
No? No. We had Iron Man's produced by Disney before we did Star Wars.
No.
Either way, we had...
He's bought a lot of things.
Well, and Pixar was about to leave Disney completely. Like, go to a different company to produce their stuff.
Yeah.
And he's like, whoa! Like, what if we buy you? Like...
We'll throw money at you?
We'll just give you all the money.
How many zeros?
Exactly. And again, they have made countless dollars off of Pixar.
Yeah.
And then it was a risky investment investing in Marvel.
Yeah.
Not knowing.
They were on a bit of a down.
They were. So it was like, we'll buy you. And look what's happened.
Yep.
Lucas selling to Disney. Iger's part of that. Like, he's the one that got the Fox mergers going. He's the one that's been opening parks in other parts of the world to try and, like, get that stuff going. He's the one who's been putting money into the parks to try and get them, revamped and going. Bob Chapek, the new guy, is one of the guys who runs, I think, Disneyland.
One of the parks. I thought he was head of the whole park.
He might be part of the parks division in the U.S., but I'm not sure how all of that works because, like, Disney World runs very differently than Disneyland.
I thought he was
and he might be the guy that's up there. I don't know. Either way, he is known for being kind of a cheapskate when it comes to stuff.
Wonderful.
So not spending money when it's like, if we spend an extra X, we can get this done. And that's one of those things Bob Iger took out of all the things Walt Disney did. He's like, if we spend money, he's like, we'll make it back. But we got to spend the money to produce a product that no one else has to make that money back. And that's where I think this Bob Chapek guy will be interesting to see what he does with the company because he doesn't quite have the same vision. But you also need someone who, like, you need to ride that line of, like...
He's on the younger... He's younger-ish.
Yes.
I'd say 50s.
Yeah.
Somewhere in there. He'll be around for a while.
Yeah.
Unless he gets...
Booty.
Taken out by the shareholders.
Yeah.
But, I don't know.
We'll wait and see, but that's one of those ones where...
You would think being the head of the parks...
He would understand kind of how things
You know how much money you need to put into these things and everything and...
I just hope he's looking at those as investments, because, like, that was Michael Eisner's thing, was the parks don't make money.
Yeah, they
do. And yes, they do. Like, that's the piece.
Yeah.
Like, they make cash. There's people lining up to make lightsabers for like $250 a pop.
I think it makes a little bit of money.
It makes just like, you're giving people plastic bits and pieces that they're like, I'm building a lightsaber, guys. Like, and again, people are happy to leave. Like, $250 and they're like, I have built, like, I am a Jedi, like,
I'm gonna hang this up.
I've gone through the experience of building this thing. Like, this is...
I am Luke.
Right, like, they feel really good about it.
Yeah.
Again, you go to a lot of theme parks where they do that kind of thing, where it's like, yeah, you can build your own lightsaber over in that, you know, building over there. How much is it? Oh, $300. And, like, again, you walk into a lot of other theme parks, and it's like, there's bits and pieces, and you would put stuff together, and you'd be like, okay, I got my souvenir, like, let's go. Disney makes it an experience.
Yeah.
So, again, yes, they're putting the money into places, just hopefully this guy keeps shoveling money places. And that'll be the interesting part to see.
There's really nothing else you can buy at this point.
And I'm not worried about buying, it's more just maintaining cost.
Yeah, but you always have something fresh.
You got to get your streaming service, you know.
The streaming service is fine.
They're going to lose Hilary Duff soon.
Oh, no. I'm cool with that.
I'm kind of interested in what they want to do that, you know, like Disney Plus is like, whoa, too adult for our streaming service.
Anything.
I guess so.
Kissing.
Well, the Mandalorian's got, like, you know, like a guy gets cut in half in the first
You
5
don't see
minutes.
that.
I get that, but, you know.
You don't see it.
I don't have to see, like, I don't know.
Two people are kissing, and it's too much.
I'm sure they have the Sandlot on there. Like, there's movies on there that have, you know.
There's no kissing in it.
Yeah, there is.
With who?
Sandlot? I think it's the Sandlot, isn't it?
There's a bunch of boys playing baseball
Yeah, but
and a dog.
And one of them tricks the cheerleader into, is that the Sandlot? Not the cheerleader, the lifeguard.
No.
There's one of those baseball movies on there that's what they do.
No.
I'll figure this out.
I don't think so. Yeah, but look when the Sandlot was made.
I get that, but it's still on their service. That's my thing. Is
They
like,
even said to some of the more sketchy stuff, hey, this might be a bit racist or sexist or whatever.
That's true. The Lion King's Timon and Pumbaa.
Yeah. So
Anywho, it'll be interesting to see what happens with the company, because like it's a big thing to take over.
Oh yeah, it's Disney.
Yeah, like that's a big one to be taking over and doing something with. Like, you know, I'll be interested to see what happens. So, kind of hoping they do more of this.
Buy more things. Buy DC. Done.
Like I say,
Buy Warner Brothers.
They can't. That would definitely be stepping into monopoly territory.
There's other production places.
I know, but people are already up in arms about Fox. Could you imagine if they went after, like, WB?
Yeah. Get all the cartoons. Get all the comics. They will own the world. They should just buy their own country.
They kind of, well...
They don't own it.
No. They could.
They should just buy a country.
Should
That's what they're going to do next.
A country.
Yes.
Disney
presents.
Disney. The country.
Disney. Yes.
Disney.
Disneyopia.
There you go. Disney.
Everything's Disney.
And I would move there.
No, I think that'd be a bit overwhelming.
Nah. It's actually funny. There was a Florida. They tried that. They opened neighborhoods and stuff. Just like so, they had rocks that played music. So like as you walk down the street,
I would
it would be
hate
like
that.
doo, and you're like, okay.
I would hate that.
Yeah, I'm like, I could only live with that for so long.
I'd be in a bad mood and I'd start singing and I'd be throwing that rock.
Fine, digging for the rock. And Chris was never allowed in the neighborhood again.
He went a little insane.
Well, that's why, because Epcot was supposed to be that. It was supposed to be the, like, the city of tomorrow sort of thing.
Yeah.
And it wasn't supposed to be a theme park. It was actually supposed to be a place where people could live and this and that and everything. And when Walt Disney died and they were taking it over, like his brother took it over going, we can't, like, we'd essentially have to tell people how to live.
Yeah.
And he's like, and you can't control that. He's like, you can control a theme park. And he's like, but you can't control people's everyday lives. Like, you know, if Bob's having a bad day.
There's been many movies showing that.
Exactly. Like, thankfully, it didn't quite work out the way he wanted it to, because that's exactly it. Is like, you want to exist in the city. This is how you're going to be all the time. Like, you know, Everybody's gonna be happy all the time. Everybody's gonna be doing this all
You
the time.
hide that
Everybody's-
anger.
You hide that anger. You push that anger deep
And
down.
that sadness, you keep it inside.
Yeah, until you finally snap.
The whole place.
So yeah, Bob Iger. It'll be interesting to see what happens.
Yes.
I'll be keeping an eye on that. Last bit of news, still Disney related because, as we know, they own LucasArts.
They own the world. I
They
just
do.
went over this.
Yep.
They should just buy the world.
Okay, I'm cool with that, as long as they don't put music in rocks.
I told you what's gonna happen.
I'm trying to think of Disneyland because like, there's music always playing. I'm just not sure if I notice it, like after you've been in the park for the day. Like I don't know if you sit there actually noticing the music anymore, if it just becomes part of your
Yeah,
life.
but you're not living there at 365.
I would.
Or like today's case, 366
Yeah.
days a year.
Good one. Way to work in the leap year.
Yeah, I try.
Um,
That's what I'm here for. Promote.
and Chris is gone. Yeah, it'd be interesting because like we did 3 weeks in Disney World or whatever that was.
But if you're every day,
I know that's what would be. I don't know.
I think it'd be too much.
I don't know. That's one of those things.
I would never move there. I'd
But-
move out.
Chris would be on the outskirts of town, like the lore, like
peaceful,
in,
quiet.
like in the Lorax.
Yep. That's
Living
me.
down the little
Just
windy
hanging out,
path.
just hanging out.
In the desolate around it because
What
they've
kids
taken all
want.
the resources.
Yeah.
Let me tell you a time when Disney didn't own everything.
And it was real.
There wasn't music coming out of rocks. The world didn't smell like cinnamon buns all the time.
I hate cinnamon buns.
I hate cinnamon buns now. That's always been my thing though. If I moved, like, if one day when I retire, when I'm 100 years old, moving out of California doesn't seem like a bad thing. Spend my days and sit in, benches in Disneyland.
Sure.
Like that's my thing. I don't know if I could exist. Like if I were a person who lived in California or LA or Anaheim or whatever, like that was close enough that I could go to Disney whenever I wanted. I don't know.
That old grouchy man sounds like a very...
I plan on being an old grouchy man, but that's just
At that point, I'll own a shotgun and I'm just going to get a good rocking chair.
Exactly. That's what I had said the one time. I'm like,
Just
my
gonna
porch,
sit out
just a
there.
rock and a little BB gun. I don't want to get arrested or
Oh,
anything.
no, you can hold out the shotgun. It's fine. You're in the States.
Get off my lawn.
You're in the States. You're good.
Get off my property.
Yep.
You and your Disney hats. You and your mouse ears. Pew, pew.
Give the ears some piercing.
Yeah, get some holes in the ears, some aerodynamics going on. More Disney news. This one was a bit confusing because they kind of just released a trailer without a lot of extra explanation to it.
Yeah.
But Star Wars, the people at Lucas and Star Wars are working on the High Republic.
Not the New Republic.
No, the High Republic. So set 200 years before Phantom Menace. It's going to be a book series with comics, adult novels,
Yeah.
young adult novels, children's. Like there's
Essentially, you have to read.
essentially yes, it's going to be a whole group of novelizations and written word stuff for this era of Star Wars that we really haven't seen.
Well, I assume with it being just in the name, the High Republic, it's kind of the high point of
Right, society and that kind of stuff.
the Jedi's,
Yeah.
all them
Yeah.
being around.
So yeah, not like Old Republic where it's like Sith and Jedi fighting and like that kind of stuff. Not any of that stuff. This is yes, very much the like Coruscant is bright and shiny and happy and
I wonder if you get a young Yoda out of that.
that's the piece is 200 years is he's
How old is he?
900ish in the like original trilogy.
Was he?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, you'd have if he'd be,
So he'd be 700ish.
yeah.
Yeah.
He'd be working his way up to being a master
No, he was already a master. He might not have been in like
on the council.
He might not have been on the council, but
Working his way up to the council.
yeah, I'm sure you'll see Yoda.
Oh, definitely.
Yeah.
Maybe some of the other aliens too, because you don't know how their aging process works.
I've never.
You won't see any Mace Windu.
No, you will not see Mace Windu. He's a little. That'd be pretty.
Little much.
Little much. It's funny reading. I used to have one of the like. encyclopedia Star Wars ones where you could go through and be like, the Jawas lived to be, because Lucas was crazy enough to come up with all of that info.
Yeah.
Or people in the company were crazy enough to be like, Jawas, like, here's all the information.
Yeah.
And you're like, oh, Jawas only lived to, and I'm going to get this wrong, but, the age of 6. Like, whatever it happens to be, but...
Because they're pissing off Mandalorian.
Mandalorians shouldn't be taking Mandalorian ships apart all
Yeah.
the time. But yeah, like, that's that thing of, there is information on how long all of these guys live, and it'll be interesting to see. Because Wookiees live for a long time, too.
A few hundred, isn't it?
Something like that.
So we might see Chewie on an adventure.
Mm-hmm.
Not in Coruscant, because I don't think he'd go there.
No, but there's talk of, like, the first... Because it's pissing people off online. Like, there's talk of, like, the first Wookiee Jedi.
Yeah.
And everybody's like, excuse me, but I've seen Clone Wars. Because in the Clone Wars cartoon show, you get a young Wookiee Padawan.
Yeah. So
it's like, excuse me, we've already had a Wookiee Jedi, so bite me.
Yeah, you're gonna have more.
No, but they're claiming this is like the first time we'll see so I'm not sure if they're wording it as it's the first Wookiee Jedi, or the first time we're supposed to be seeing a Wookiee Jedi.
Like full on. The other one is a Padawan.
I guess, and that's the thing. Like, wording is very now important in all of this, because
It's fine.
I just watched those episodes, and they're some of my favorite episodes of Clone Wars.
I still haven't gotten past the first season.
I've had a lot of time on my hands
you
where
have.
I've been
You
up.
have.
If I'm not gonna sleep, I might as well do something.
That's true.
And I'm busy. Like, that's the whole. But like, I'm sitting there going, I could be working on this, but I can't. Yeah, this doesn't quite work for me typing. It would take forever, and I would just get angry.
I do that all the time.
What, typing with one hand?
Yeah.
No, I have to.
Fine. Yes, this is.
It's
High
cool.
Republic is interesting.
Because they're comic book series. Like, I love the Star Wars comics.
Yeah.
I think they do a good job of filling in gaps of certain
Still
things.
working on that too.
Yeah. Yeah, that I gave up on.
Oh, I'm still doing the Star Wars thingy.
I've been flipping back and forth between them. I got to the annuals while we were in the hospital, and that's yeah. So it's pretty like this. The Darth Vader ones are insanely cool because it's after A New Hope as he's discovering who.
Yeah, mine's just after the original Star Wars.
Yeah.
After the New Hope.
Yeah.
So
That's
still fresh.
Yeah.
Oh no, it's after. Yeah, it's after New Hope.
Yeah, because after the Death Star, like the.
Because they talk about that.
Yeah.
You're the one. Because Vader's trying to hunt down the person that destroyed the.
I know.
The Death Star.
That's like the coolest part because he's discovering who Luke is.
Without knowing who. Luke
Without
is.
knowing who Luke is.
Until, obviously, the Return of the. No.
No, he knows an Empire because
Yeah.
that's I am your father. So somewhere in that comic book line,
He discovers who
he
he
figures
is.
out that it's a,
Yeah.
Skywalker, and it's like, oh snap!
Yeah.
And that's apparently in the newer comics, like the ones that are just being released for.
That he finds out.
No, that he actually ends up going on some kind of mission to track down his past.
Yeah.
And he
He's
actually
kind of doing that where I am.
sort of, but apparently this one, like I was just reading it a couple weeks ago, like he actually finds Padme.
Does he?
But that's how that's the like the kind of teaser into the like you have to read this comic because
Died.
well correct, so everybody's like what?
She's in the head.
And it might just be that where it's either holograms or like he found recordings of her or whatever it happens to
ghost.
be, but like
It's a vision haunting him.
or it's a vision that's haunting him where it's like Padme, like what? Yeah. And otherwise, like it's him tracking down the guy who destroyed the Death Star, and also still doing the will of the Emperor, who is. It's just like you need to go and get this planet in line because they're not listening, and you're like, okie doke.
Yeah.
And then he's absolutely terrifying because it's just like, nah, we'll just kill half of them. That'll make them listen. Leader of the planet's like, what? That's half the workforce. And he goes, and he's like, and so the other half will have to work twice as hard. And you're just like. Whoa, Anakin, that's a huge step.
He's just pulling his inner Thanos out.
He really is. It's very much like just... You know, I like the comics a lot. So, so yeah, the High Republic stuff it's intriguing.
In talks, I don't think anything's come out.
No,
yet.
what they've shown us is essentially they've gotten all of their writers together and been like, "This is where we want to aim.
Yeah.
Start writing."
Throw ideas out there.
Yeah.
Get things going.
And again, it's not like there's a canon base for what's happening, so it's like, you know, we can play loose with this now, which is kind of exciting.
Yeah.
Which was, you know, kind of the excitement of even the sequel trilogies of like, you know, you don't have to follow a lot of anything because the Empire's been dealt with and da-da-da-da-da-da. Like, what new can we do with Star Wars? Nothing. That is the answer. And again, not that I'm mad about it.
No. They're
Just-
good movies.
Yeah,
I like them.
I like them, but yeah, it's like, you know, what new and exciting adventures can we go on? All right, none. Cool. Same adventures.
Yep.
Great. Dig it. Okie doke. So, people will warm up to them.
Oh, yeah,
It took 20 years for people to warm up to the prequel trilogies.
They're still not warm to it.
I think the Clone Wars cartoon show has helped. In my
So it did the Mandalorian
yeah,
thing.
of like, oh, okay,
It fixed some things.
Yeah. It's like, okay, this makes way more sense now of why, you know, Anakin is the way Anakin is, and, you know,
Yeah.
like, all of these things are happening, you know. It just shows off. Like, and it shows Grievous off more, and Dooku, and how all of those relationships actually connect, as opposed to just, Dooku bad! Fight Dooku at end of one movie, essentially. Fight Dooku at the beginning
Yeah.
of another movie,
And it's done.
and he's done, and it's like, I thought Dooku, like, was supposed to be kind of a badass.
He is.
He is, and especially if you watch the Clone Wars, like, he really is.
Yeah.
And then, like, but he's also plotting to take, like, the Emperor out because he has his own apprentice.
Grievous.
Well, and Grievous isn't really his apprentice. He's just, like, Grievous, because he was a droid mostly
Yeah.
and couldn't use the Force, couldn't be an actual apprentice. But he had Ventress,
Yeah.
who was
Oh, right. Yeah, her.
one of the witches.
Yeah.
And then he has to get rid of her, and then he ends up with Savage, who is Darth Maul's brother.
Yeah.
And then that backfires. Like, Dooku should really just stop taking apprentices on.
That's what the Sith do.
But and that's the piece, is like, you can tell why they can't have more than two of them, because they just can't handle, like, hierarchies, essentially.
Yeah.
So
Power gets to their head.
that's essentially it. But yeah, there's some pretty badass, like, lightsaber wieldy people out there in the Clone Wars series.
Yeah.
Where you're just like, okay, what happened to all of the... And that's the next piece, is what happened to all of these people. Which would be fun to know.
Yeah.
Like, I'm on episodes now where Darth Maul is starting to accumulate power as a crime lord.
Well, yeah, we knew that one.
But we know it's coming, but it's like, again, what kind of keeps happening?
Darth Maul series.
I'd be fine with the Darth Maul series.
Well, actually, you can, because he dies.
I know, but
You gotta see. That's where I would like the Solo movies.
to have gone.
To just see how it. Han Solo pretty much, I assume, takes it down.
Yeah, I don't know.
Because obviously Darth Maul dies.
Yes.
He's at a low point.
Yes.
So obviously his empire has fallen.
I think we see parts of that in Clone Wars and Rebels.
Oh.
I don't know.
We'll
It'd be interesting. Like, that's where Solo was leading to an interesting point of, like, we don't even have to follow Han Solo anymore. We can now do, like, you know, a crime lord series more than anything. You know, I don't have to see Han Solo driving around for Jabba the Hutt. I can just see Jabba the Hutt and the Hutts themselves doing
Well,
stuff.
you would see him do that, but at the same time try and find his girlfriend who's working for
Maul. Yep. Yeah, it was going places. But now we're going to the High Republic.
Still could.
Directed and written by Kevin Smith. I'm just kidding. Kevin Smith's not involved. Although the High Republic, really, you think,
Maybe.
get him in there. Bunch of Jedi smoking weed.
Yeah, no. They said no to the Hillary Duff stuff. That's definitely out of it.
Yeah, I'll be interested to see the Hillary Duff stuff, what happens with all of that jazz. There's a new Disney Plus show, 101 Dalmatian Street or something like that.
Woohoo!
I don't know. It's
They
an
take-
It's an
They take
animated.
over an entire street now.
No, they're detectives.
Oh, okay.
Yep.
Sounds like it's something I'm not gonna watch.
Yeah, I'm also not gonna watch it, but apparently it's even gone off of my list.
It's that bad.
It was that bad. Yeah, Disney Plus. It's got stuff going on right now too. New stuff.
Yeah.
Peanuts movies on here. Disney now owns the movie rights to Charlie Brown,
Don't think so.
or at least the Peanuts movie.
No, because I think it's still owned by the daughter.
I think all in all, but they own Blue Sky Studios, which is what
And
Peanuts
I
did.
think she has said no to more movies.
And that sort of makes sense. I like the Peanuts movie.
Oh, I'm not saying it was a bad movie. It's
Yeah.
just she has said.
And I'm down with
No.
her saying no, because you don't want to go crazy with them. They also own Percy Jackson, apparently. And Mrs. Doubtfire.
Speaking of remakes,
What, Percy Jackson?
should just do it.
What, remake Percy Jackson?
Yeah.
Oh, heck yeah. Spend an extra, $1 million on that movie and actually make it better.
Yeah.
Yep.
Anywho,
There you go.
that's the news.
Yep. Join us for the post-credit show in about 5 minutes where we talk about games we played, movies we've watched, and other sort of nerd junk we've done.
Life experiences.
Yeah. Check out Twitter and our stuff at Barrel Roll News and our website, barrelrollnews.com, while you're waiting.
Bye.
Like and subscribe.
Bye.